This time I'm back with a realistic game in the Volksjäger, the He-162 A2. One of the worst jets in the game, but because I have already speeded all the other 7.0 jets for Germany, I dropped down to the 6.7 jet to get us some memes and see for myself how bad it really is. It's one of the slower aircrafts at jet level, but fully upgraded it's not that slow, and it also doesn't rip the wings that easily as other jets do. But the problem really is the acceleration and rate of you bleed your speed when you do any kind of maneuver. If you make a roll, that's maybe still your best option to not lose big amounts of speed, but if you make any change in the direction, turn only 45 degrees or something, you bleed insane amounts of speed. No other jet does that. Maybe, well, it's because of this very, very tiny wing area this plane has. But maybe it's also something wrong with the flight model, even though they worked around for quite some time on this flight model here. At the start of the game, I tried to side climb and hide from the enemy fighters, because you just cannot compete either with a Tempest, a Spitfire, or a Vampire or a Meteor. It doesn't even matter what plane comes along. You are inferior in acceleration, climb rate, initial speed, armament. Nearly everything is weaker than the enemy. The only thing you have over some of the enemy planes here in this match, that your dive speed is pretty decent, and you can outrun while going down a lot of the planes. The problem only is that if you try to do something other than diving, then your speed is gone and you won't get it back. Because also the energy retention of this plane is also really bad. So what does it have going for it? It has German 20 mils, which generally do damage if you aim them correctly. So that's decent, but that's nowhere near the other jets, which most of the time have 4 cannons or big caliber cannons like the 262 or the Horton with 30 millimeters. Yeah. Its only real advantage over some of the other planes is it is small, it's hard to hit, and you can roll pretty well and throw off the aiming of the enemy because of this. At the start here I tried to wait until the enemy goes down so I don't have a lot of the planes above me. And the only plane that's still up high is this Spitfire, and I try to force him down, even though I'm pretty sure he didn't dive because I came in. He just tried to catch one of the 262s off guard. Now, because I had a lot of speed, I switched my angle to the Vampire, which pulls up and I only get a bounce of him, and I can't really pull up like he can, because I was going too fast. And as you see, I make a loop and I was below 400 kilometers an hour, which is crazy because I was going 700 kilometers an hour when I went into the loop. But that's the 162. At this point the vampire is already very, very slow and struggles to do something. And I get a crit on his wing, and apparently the damage was too big, so he goes down and I gather my first kill. After this initial engagement, as you can see, I go below 400 kilometers an hour because of the tiny bit of maneuvering, and I'm very low. The enemy still has Spitfires high up, and those are high-end Griffin Spits, Mark 22s, Mark 24s, the best of the best props. And yeah, they will quickly wipe out most of our remaining teammates. And at this point it looks like we have the advantage, but as you will see, this will change very, very quickly. I don't really want to. Here I was uncertain about what I'm going to do next. If I should help the friendly 262s or not. But I could see that I was just too slow and didn't have any altitude, and the Spitfires would just wreck me instantly. And my only saving grace here is that I'm pretty close to the airfield and that I have a good chance to run away here. At this point I tried to still help this 262, but he got shot down. Here I had to force the head-on. Lost all of my remaining ammunition in that head-on. Because you always should remember, some people tell you that going head-on is pretty stupid, especially against his banner cannons, and they have a point, yes. But if you're in an inferior plane that has no place or no chance of outmaneuvering, outclimbing, outspeeding the enemy, then going head-on is pretty much your only chance. And if you pull out of the head-on before the Spitfire does, then you are also pretty much dead, because you present a bigger surface area to shoot. And because this is such a small plane from the front, then they have to be pretty accurate with their shots to snipe you. You don't have any protection in this plane, so they can knock you out very quickly. But first of all, they have to hit you. And staying on target minimizes the surface area you present to them. And now I'm gonna go to land here and try to rearm. And any moment now, the Horton here, the 234 crashes on landing because he got heavily damaged by the vampire before. And now it doesn't look that great again, because now the enemy has 3 planes and every one of them has killed something, so at least they know how to shoot things. And our team looks pretty miserable. We only had one 262 who got some decent amount of kills, and my remaining teammate has 0 kills, which doesn't make me very uh, it doesn't give me a good feeling about this, and but as it will turn out, he's still a decent player. He knows what he can do and what he can't do. We will see that later. So, taking off again in the 162. At this point, I have to hope that the Spitfires are not in the area and that the Vampire is still rearming, repairing, or whatever. Because if any of those planes catches me, or even the 262, while we are still gaining speed and altitude, we are sitting ducks and pretty much have no chance. Because the Vampire will outmaneuver us and at this point also outspeed us very easily. I also only have 2 modules for this plane, I think the compressor and the belts. So it doesn't fly at its full potential. But as far as I heard, it will not get any any better, or at least not at a significant pace. At this point, I tell my remaining teammate that we should probably check out the enemy airfield and see if we can catch one of the Spitfires while climbing, because as you can see in the battle damage log, that one of the Spitfires farmed ground units and is probably out of ammunition, so he will definitely go back and rearm to the airfield. And the other one, I think he shot down yeah, he shot down 2 planes and was also in the fight, so maybe he got some battle damage and also went back to base. At least that was what I was thinking at this point. And the 262 agrees with my idea. I think he also checked out the second airfield, which is a lot closer to the battle area and to the bombing targets, but as it will turn out, they didn't went over there because they are very risky to land on at such a point in the game. Let's speed up this a bit, because we're gonna... nothing will happen for a moment here. And now I already spotted the Spitfire up here. I'm not sure if you can see the black dots over there. Yeah, now I see them. I can see the marker. And I think he didn't spot me at this point. He was probably aware of the 262, and he's still climbing, and I have a speed advantage. But now he's leveling out and pulling away. He definitely noticed me. And he pulls away out of the attack run. And I don't have any intention of turning into him and just continue through to give my 262 buddy the chance to attack him. And as soon as he attacks, I turn around to catch the Spitfire at the point where I have a good shot at him, and he takes the head on. I maneuver to get out of the way. He shoots very badly. He tries to evade the head-on and presents me a perfect shot on the wing area. And the next Spitfire will do exactly the same. And it turns out very badly for them. And very quickly we make this, well, we are in a place of advantage here. But only numbers wise, because the enemies still have a vampire, and vampires are definitely able to kill a 262 and He-162. Especially because I probably only have 40 rounds of cannon ammo left. And the vampire is already engaging the 262. And well, the 262 definitely struggles here to stay alive. But he definitely knows what he's doing, because he doesn't go into maneuvering fights or turn fights with the vampire, and he keeps up his speed and keeps its distance to the enemy. Here I was a bit indecisive about what to do here. I couldn't really judge what the right play would be, and I turn around to maybe get the vampire, but as it will turn out, the vampire will just climb too high for me, and I don't have the energy to get to him. Let's switch to our 262 teammate here, who's definitely responsible for keeping the vampire busy and stopping him for killing me. But at high altitude, the 262 is not a very performant or a really strong fighter, and it has its, well, in my opinion, the best performance of the 262 is up to 3000 meters or so, and it performs very, very nicely there. And the vampire makes an attack run on the 262, and luckily he sparks off the 262 here. And the vampire is, well, perfectly NFG fighting us. We pretty much have no chance of reaching him. It looks like he had a lot of time for climbing after he repaired. At this point I can see that my time is wasted here, and I fly back home to rearm. Now the 262 uses its pretty capable acceleration and speed once it's upgraded to get a bit of distance between him and the vampire. And the vampire just continues to climb. I'm not really sure why he does that, because if he forced the pursuit here and dove down a bit to gather speed, he could have a chance to catch up to the 262 and then get on a level playing field, and then on a level field the vampire will always turn better than the 262. It only rolls worse. I'm gonna land here. Rearm. After I rearmed and refueled, for some reason the vampire engages a blind hunt order who marks me for him on the map and also puts an red icon over me, so he can spot me quite easily down here. I don't really see the reason why he does that, because he can already see the 262 and I'm pretty sure he knows that I was going for a landing, and so how should I ever get to him? This turns into a waiting game and a bit like a game of chess. Who makes the first move, who does what. And I'm already thinking about how much fuel the vampire has, so... And I also asked in chat how much the 262 has, and he says I think he has about 7 minutes left. So that's not a lot. So he's also running on a timer here, and I'll definitely try to get up to speed and altitude here, because I can see that very soon the 262 will attempt to land, and I have to get into a covering position to intercept the vampire once the 262 is on the ground. And here the vampire makes its move. But the vampire doesn't stick around. He just uses his speed to just climb away. I stall out here under him, but I was pretty sure that he will not turn around because of the 262 guarding me. He was definitely my bodyguard in this game. And at this point, the 262 decides to just head back to base and refuel and rearm, which was definitely the right decision here. I'm already at a decent combat altitude. I have the room to get up to speed here. The vampire cannot spot me because I'm below him, so he has only a slight guess about where I am. Now I'm following his dot, so I know what he's doing. And I turn around because I was thinking at this point that maybe the vampire will also return to base. But as it will turn out, he will do nothing like that. He will rush in and he tries to kill the 262, which is already on the ground. And I dive in and get up to speed so I can intercept him. And we snipe his tail off. And we saved our buddy in the 262 who reset it on the airfield and repaired. So that was the game. Definitely one of my better 162 games. It's not really one of the of the good jet fighters, but it can still be fun. If you always have in mind that you are at a disadvantage no matter what you do, and you can still annoy the enemy and shoot them down because you have guns and they do damage, so better use them. That game netted me 90k civil lines, which was pretty decent for a 162 game, I think. So that's the game, guys. See ya.